Hello everyone, this is Jack Frost with your weekly update for the Ethereum Technicals and XRP. This week I'm doing a full update for these markets, and for Ethereum the last completed week ends with this large bullish candlestick, breaking above resistance, now support at 2400, with the break both above resistance, now support at 1750 and now at 2400, with some support from volume which we'll see in a second. There is some confidence that this low just here may be sustained at this point. We have the initial push above resistance, now support at 1800, and now this push above resistance, now support at 2400. Both of these pushes are lower than the pushes on prior bearish candlesticks, though the fact that we do have some push from volume on these candlesticks does give us some confidence that the low may be sustained. Overall, volume has declined after the last pushes just here, though for the short term we do overall see strongest volume on these bearish candlesticks here, particularly at the last low. As I've previously mentioned in various videos before, this push from volume at the last low, as well as the increase in range for that candlestick, may indicate that the low could be sustained, as we do see that within sustained lows, though we also see it with interim lows, so we do require some bullish confirmation. It is possible to see the break above resistance with support from volume and the large bullish candlestick to be that bullish confidence. I'll get a bit more into that on the daily chart in a minute. ADX now declines after continuing a little bit with an extreme bearish trend. Currently there is no clear trend. Overall ATR declining along with price and now increasing a little bit, giving a slight bullish outlook for short-term volatility. And as ADX declines at the weekly time frame for Ethereum, we use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. This model suggests the downward swing may be complete at the last low, where price tested support at 1500, and an upward swing may now occur at this point towards resistance, potentially up at 3580, where price finds this resistance point, while stochastics may fully enter overbought. It is also possible for the upward swing to continue towards resistance at 4130, where price has previously tested that resistance point or fallen ever so slightly short of that resistance point. Though we'll have to see where stochastics is when price reaches this initial resistance point at 3580. Now on the technical daily chart for Ethereum, we see more detail for price's recent increase, hovering around support resistance at 1800, now breaking above resistance both at 21 and 2400, currently moving a little bit within support at 2400 and resistance at 2720. We see some pushes from volume for the short term on bullish candlesticks, offering some further support to upwards movement, particularly on the daily time frame. This push just here, as price previously broke above resistance, now support at 1800, offers support to that breakout, giving us some bullish confirmation that the low may be sustained at the daily time frame. As this is also the strongest short-term volume that we see on the daily chart, it does offer some further support to upwards movement at this time frame. And ADX now increases with a bullish trend that is not extreme and not yet in danger of ending. This trend may continue to where ADX reaches and may remain in either extreme or very extreme conditions. RSI is overbought and remains overbought. There is currently no divergence. Money flow is neutral, getting a little bit close to overbought, though it has not yet entered overbought. ATR is increasing quite sharply along with price for the short term, giving a bullish outlook for short-term volatility. And as this trend indicated by ADX is not yet extreme, it does expect price to continue upwards. As previously mentioned, the trend potentially entering and remaining in extreme or very extreme conditions. RSI may enter more deeply overbought, while money flow may enter overbought itself, as well as both RSI and money flow potentially exhibiting some bearish divergence before the trend may be in danger of ending at the daily time frame. However, it is always important to note that we rely more heavily on the Elliott Wave count, particularly for cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, and so if you do want that, we have done an update for that today at pureelliottwave.com. As always, you can sign up for that using the link in the description below. On the XRP weekly chart, the wave count has not changed at all, though we do have this larger bullish candlestick for the last completed week. Minor wave 5 overall continuing higher, and this low at the end of minor wave 4 on the weekly chart. Is this low here on the daily chart, we see more detail for the upwards movement for the beginning of minor wave 5. I've added this short-term invalidation at 1.6140, where any second wave corrective movement within minor wave 5 cannot move below its start. We've also removed the Fibonacci durations, as particularly for XRP, we just simply don't have the confidence in that method of estimating the durations of these waves at this point. We have had success with Ethereum and gold particularly in the past, though for XRP, I will be doing those Fibonacci durations in my own time and only will add them to the analysis when we have some confidence that they may be of use to this analysis. It is also important to note that with the high volatility for cryptocurrencies like XRP, it is very difficult to estimate the ends for these waves, particularly large degree motive structures, and even more particularly these third waves, as they come with a massive increase in volatility, particularly towards the end, and commonly exhibit blow-off tops. And so at this point, we will not be estimating any of the durations for these waves. We will simply just use these targets for where we expect these waves to be complete. And all of these targets are the same. We have 6.11 for intermediate wave 3, which is the 6.854 ratio of intermediate wave 1. However, if this target is reached and the structure for minor wave 5 remains incomplete, then we will use this higher target at 6.42, where minor wave 5 would reach the 1.618 Fibonacci ratio of minor wave 3. And this is all within primary wave 3. Continuing higher, we have a target for primary wave 3 at 27.44, using the 14.72 ratio of primary wave 1. And we also have this confidence point at 3.4 that would see minor wave 5 moving above the end of minor wave 3, which you saw on the weekly chart. That would avoid a truncation and just add some further confidence to this wave count. On the technical weekly chart, price has continued to increase this strong bullish candlestick that we can see a bit more clearly on this chart. After this last low here, where price tested support at 2.0, as in the last video, volume continues to decline with increasingly weaker pushes, though we do overall see strongest volume on the bullish candlesticks, seeing overall volume to support upwards movement. ADX continues to decline at the weekly time frame for XRP, showing no clear trend. On-balance volume moves within a very narrow range, currently giving no signal. As on-balance volume is at resistance, it may give a bullish signal if it breaks above this resistance line, or it may give a bearish signal if it reacts to resistance and continues within its range. ATR declines along with price, though it continues to decline for the short term as price increases, an overall bearish outlook for volatility. And as ADX declines for XRP at the weekly time frame, we use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. This model suggests the previous downward swing may be complete where stochastics fell short of oversold conditions, while price tested support at 2.0. An upward swing may now occur at this point towards resistance, potentially up at 3.2, where price finds that resistance point, while stochastics may enter overbought. And on the technical daily chart, we see more detail for price's recent increase for XRP, moving above support at 2.0 after finding that support point with this last low and this bullish engulfing pattern here. We see some strength in upwards movement for volume, a push on this last completed candlestick here, as well as weaker pushes on various bullish candlesticks for the short to mid-term. This offers some support to the upwards movement as we expect from the Elliott Wave count, and this increase in range and push from volume at the last short-term low may indicate that the low could be sustained. For XRP, we do require bullish confirmation, which would come in the form of a break above resistance at 2.8 for confidence to see this low sustained. ADX increases with a bullish trend that increased from a low point. This is the strongest bullish signal that ADX can give, increasing from a low point below 15 and below both DX lines. RSI remains neutral, so I won't add that much for this analysis. We do have some bearish divergence between money flow and price, where money flow makes these lower pivots while price closes higher. It is also important to note that with the context of a bullish trend in its very early stages, this bearish divergence may fail if money flow makes a higher pivot while price closes higher. ATR has declined as price increased for the short term, giving a bearish outlook for volatility, though it begins to increase slightly along with price at this point. And as this trend indicated by ADX is not yet extreme, it does expect price to continue upwards, the trend potentially continuing to where ADX reaches and may remain in extreme or very extreme conditions, while RSI and money flow may enter overbought and or exhibit some divergence. RSI exhibiting single or double bearish divergence, while money flow may exhibit double bearish divergence before the trend may be in danger of ending at the daily time frame. And as always, it is important to note that we do rely more heavily on the Elliott Wave count. However, it is always important to use these technical indicators for a more objective and broad overview of the market. And that's all for me with your weekly update for XRP and the Ethereum Technicals. I Hope everyone has a good week.